Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I'm your host, Brandon, and this is your co-host,
Justin.
Justin, how are you this week?
I'm good. It's been a kind of a chill week for me. How about you?
It's been good. It feels kind of non-chill, but at the same time chill. I know we missed our weekly Dungeons and Dragons this week.
Yeah.
But it looks like we're gonna make it this week when originally wasn't going to be able to. So
Yeah. Now I have to write it up tomorrow.
yeah.
Thought I had a little bit more time, so that's fine.
But it's better. I think it's better to. I mean, obviously the prep is important, but having more people at the table and less people miss a session,
Oh yeah.
kind of makes it a little more fun.
Yeah. And it's not too bad. I've gotten good enough to where I can kind of do it pretty easily.
Nice. Yeah. Yes. So in my life, yesterday there was a belting ceremony at jiu-jitsu, and you know, it's been right under 2 years that I've been a blue belt. So I had no expectations to receive a promotion. I did not receive a promotion this time. Shout out to all my teammates that did. They worked real hard. Every single one of them that gets a promotion, our coach and black belts that promote, they don't promote lightly. And so as you show up and train, as you compete and everything, they see your progress, and so whenever you do get promoted, it's awesome recognition, and it means your coach has faith and trust in you that you have more potential.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to them. They earned it.
We
Maybe
got
one day for you.
Yeah. No. As long as I show up and I keep learning, and with the mindset of, I need to get better. There's always something to get better at. It'll come. Belt doesn't. The belt color doesn't determine how good you are.
Yeah.
It's just the belt color. It's an external recognition for something that you've developed.
Yeah, it's a good mindset.
So we did get 2 new black belts though. And so that's Josh's 24th and 25th black belt promotions that he's done. So he now has 25 black belts under his name, under his lineage. So
Man.
yeah. All right, so cool good news here. We now have a sponsor on our podcast. Mudcat Whiskers out of Youngsville, Louisiana, has decided to sponsor us. And what that means for us and the listeners is that, hey, you get a discount code for beard care products and candles. So Justin, do you use any beard care products?
Probably should with my beard, but I haven't really found the right one, so I'm gonna have to check this one out and see if it works for me. Probably will.
I've been using beard care products for a number of years now, and when I was at the Acadiana Renaissance Festival, I came across this guy, and he was selling beard care products and candles. And I still had some stock of the beard care products I was using. So I bought a candle. But recently I did buy some of the beard wash and beard conditioner, as well as some beard balm, which is the 3 products I use for my beard. and I find it really helps minimize the dandruff and kind of makes it less homeless looking, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, I like to keep a little length on my beard, and I know you go back and forth between having it as short as it is now, and
Yeah.
sometimes longer than mine is. So,
Yeah. Depends on how lazy I'm feeling.
yeah. So, and they also, like I said, they have candles, woodwick soy candles, a
Ooh.
whole bunch of different scents. These make my home office smell amazing. You can burn them for 4 hours at a time. It actually really permeates the entire house when I do um,
Mm.
light it up. So I got to make sure it's a scent that my wife enjoys.
Yeah. Yeah. That always helps.
uh, but yeah, and as far as um, their beard care products, every so they have beard oils, beard balms, beard butter. I'm not sure the difference between the balm and the butter, but I know like I tend to love the balm. The balm is like it's a little more waxy, and so you really just like when you do it, you rub it in.
Yeah.
I think it holds the hair in a little more structure,
Mm.
but and then they have the beard wash and beard conditioner, and any scent that they have it available in all of those products. So um,
Nice.
if y'all want to check them out, their website is mudcatwhiskers.com. And at checkout, use the promo code paperweights and save yourself 15%, and then support our podcast so Justin and I can buy books to
Yeah.
continue reading.
Yeah. That'd be sweet. Yeah. Might have to get some and check it out.
Yeah.
Looks like a
And
great product.
yeah, shout out to Nick. He's the sole proprietor of Mudcat Whiskers. And I love to support local small businesses. You know, I love small businesses in general, but when they're local, uh, a little more, I like them a little more, just because that is in my community or near my community. And even though Youngsville is about an hour away from us, it's still,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Still Louisiana.
yeah.
Still close enough.
And also, I've got a bunch of these little buttons, um, just little buttons. So if anybody wants any of those, you know, just hit us up and give me your address and I'll mail one out to you.
Sweet. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. They move around too. They're very I went with the simplistic design instead of the full logo, which I don't know. I might have to get a new design. It still says with Mike and Brandon. So unless you want
Yeah,
to legally change your name, Justin.
I might. But also, they're now collector's items, so
Yeah.
they're even more rare.
But yeah, t-shirt, Mudcat Whiskers,
That's a
nice
cool
little
T-shirt.
Cthulhu, and a little bit of steampunk influence there.
Yeah. So, the beard oils will make us see the eldritch knowledge. That's a good plus too.
That is a good plus. You know, everybody else will be like, "What are y'all seeing?" I was like, "You got to buy some of this stuff, and
Gotta
you
buy
get to
it.
see the Eldritch." You
Yeah.
know. All right, yeah, let's get started. Chapter 12,
Yeah.
Professor Umbridge. So
Yeah.
I think this chapter overall, you know, we learn a lot about Umbridge. So it's a real introduction to Umbridge. Like we've
Yep.
seen her on screen before, but it's mostly like Harry going, "Oh, that lady looks disgusting. Like she's a
Yeah.
toad-like lady," and then she keeps popping up. Uh, and so this chapter really sets her up, and you know, after a bunch of fluff
Yeah.
in the chapter of setting up OWLs, or the OWL expectations. Uh,
Yeah.
and I really think it was a great, um, it did great of expanding the character of Umbridge
Yeah.
on our first true encounter with her.
Yeah. She's a great villain.
She is.
Like, I think she's the best villain of the series, at least so far, and from what I remember. Even Voldemort better than Voldemort to me.
In this section alone, she is absolutely like shows
Evil.
absolutely that she is the best but worst
Yeah,
villain so far. Because it's just like a lot of times I'm just holding my breath, like what she's doing is just like
yeah,
suffocating.
yeah. She's so like passive aggressive and just, ugh. The way she like does her little like whenever she's with like hovering over the teachers and there's like, oh my God. But yeah, she's terrible in all the right ways. Like I think she might be like the most hated character since like Joffrey
Oh yeah.
from Game of Thrones. Like every time she's on the page, you're like, ah, she sucks.
What was this? I know the movie came out before Game of Thrones, but was this book written before?
I don't think. I think Game of Thrones was in the 90s.
What book one is that when we Game of Thrones book? Is that when we first really met Joffrey and he was disgusting?
Yeah, yeah, he's in there. He like gets, well, spoilers for book one of Game of Thrones, like Sansa's dog gets murked.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones or read the book, sorry, people.
Yeah,
That is very
it's not
like
a big spoiler, but yeah, he's pretty awful to her and
that
continues to be awful.
I think that happens in episode one of the show anyway.
Oh yeah.
But
But yeah, this came out in 2003, so yeah, it's after Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was in the 90s.
yeah, let's see. I'm pulling that up right now. 1996. So yeah, Game of Thrones was first published August 1st, 1996.
Yeah.
And that good 1990s book cover art though, with like very blocky letters. They're
Oh
just like
yeah.
it's not the 80s and early 90s of like the Wheel of Time book covers where it's almost like romance
Yeah.
like
Rom-com.
style characterizations. Dude, those
Yeah.
those Wheel of Time book covers are so
They're crazy.
horribly. A lot of those characters are very horribly drawn or
I,
depictions of the characters.
though I do kind of love them. They're so bad, but I love them.
They kind of
But yeah,
remind me of Fabio, or I love
yeah,
the Redcoat Rand in book 7,
yeah,
where his arm is just like this.
yeah. But anyway, back to Harry Potter. Yeah, I love Umbridge. I think that's why I remember this book so fondly, because you need a good villain to have a good story, and she's like a great villain.
Yeah. So with the other things that are happening in this chapter before you even meet Umbridge, because there's a lot that goes on in the chapter
Yeah,
before Umbridge even shows up. We find out Fred and George are posting hiring signs for testers of product
they're
testers.
they're experimenting on humans.
Yes.
That's kind of messed up. And
But
also, I think they killed somebody because
in this chapter,
they say that like the nosebleed potion, they're like, oh, we don't have a cure for it, so you just bleed until you shrivel up. I'm like, so they just killed somebody. I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe they took him to the hospital and they got like more blood magicked into him or something. But I was like, Jesus. Like I'm on Hermione's side. Like everybody's kind of like, oh, she's a curmudgeon or whatever. But I'm also like, they're doing human testing on freshmen. It's kind of messed up.
they're paying him at least.
At least they're paying him with Harry's money, Harry's blood money.
Hey,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
go ahead.
yeah, I mean, at least they're getting paid. But also, like, oof. When you think about some of the ethics in Harry Potter, it's real dubious. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and this is actually not the first time we were introduced to what they were coming up with. Their thieving snack boxes. I realized after our last episode that I had made a highlight to talk about that because it was interesting. Just a snack box of candy where you take one and you get sick and long enough to just get out of class,
Yeah,
and then you take the antidote to it and you're all better.
I guess they'd never heard of wine. You can just be like, oh, my stomach hurts. I have to stay home from school. I guess they're in the dorm, so maybe it won't work.
But
But
Harry does that. Harry does that in this
oh,
section.
yeah, he does.
When Hedwig shows up, they injured at the window. He's like, "I'm sick. I need to go."
Also, they're making like bulimia potions, which is kind of messed up too. Cause I'm like, that's just gonna be used for the bulimics. It's not actually that good. 'Cause
It's just like puke. What was it? Puking?
yeah, they can puke and then they eat something and they stop puking.
No, that's
Yes. Like, all right.
maybe JK was just like, "Hey, let's take all these like disorders that people have
Make it
and
into a potion.
make a potion or a candy out of it." So there's a magical explanation for it.
There you go. I mean, the puking one would be useful because if you just like throw up in the middle of class, you're definitely gonna get out of that class.
Oh
But it's
yeah,
still also gonna be used for nefarious things.
yeah. I let's see who wrote. I really it was either no Dumbledore. Sorry, I forget to write who is saying certain things, but I
Mm,
highlight it and I make a note about it, and then I'm like sitting there going, "What in the hell?" And I probably mentioned this every episode, but
mm.
so Dumbledore at the end of last episode last book, I almost said last season as well. um, he had said to the entire school, he said about Voldemort, he said his gift for spreading discord and enmity is very great. We can fight it only by showing an equally strong bond of friendship and trust. Which the Sorting Hat echoed those sentiments in the
Yeah,
song in the last chapter.
yeah.
Yeah. So we already talked about the skeeving snack boxes. Um,
Mm.
so Hermione and Ron were actually wondering where Fred and George got the galleons to start up their joke shop. They're like,
Yeah.
"Where did you get this money from?" They're like, "No, well, you know."
I'm kind of curious why Harry hasn't told them. Maybe he's a little embarrassed about his money still or something. I don't know. I don't think like Ron would like mind that he funded his brother's like dreams.
Yeah, but also I don't think Ron fully
Understands how rich.
supports them
Mm.
as well. I mean,
Well, Hermione definitely doesn't.
Hermione definitely doesn't. Mrs. Weasley definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think Harry's like, well, the less people that know that I'm supporting them and funding their thing, then the less trouble I'll be in as well.
Yeah, and maybe for legal reasons, if somebody dies, he's like, I have nothing to do with it.
Uh, um, oh, those
Mm.
boys. We also
Yeah.
get Ron, Harry, and Hermione are all talking about what they want to do after they leave Hogwarts.
Mm.
I think the majority of them are like, "I'll be an R."
Yep. Which makes sense for Harry because he's already fighting a dark wizard, so
Yeah, and
might
he's
as well
already
get paid for it.
yeah he's already setting up in this book, especially in this book. It's setting up that he would be a great Auror,
Yeah.
but that kind of seems like the yeah, in the Muggle world or our world, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a police officer, or I want to be a fireman. It's like, well, why do you want to be that? I don't know. They're prestigious and they're very um, risky jobs, but if you save people, then you get
Yeah.
some fame and acknowledgement. And I think that's the attraction to a lot of those
Yeah.
types of jobs.
That, I think the Aurors remind me more of like CIA or something, a little bit more prestigious than that. But I don't know.
Maybe, but they definitely do have fighting
Yeah.
going on. We see that with Moody. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
dude's been through a ringer.
Yeah.
um Cho runs into Harry again,
Yeah.
and I actually forgot. So I know that Cho and Cedric had went to the ball, but I guess I never picked up that JK made them an item. You put them in a relationship.
Yeah, I think they were. I mean, well, they say it in the book.
They say it in the book, but they say it in this book. I don't remember it being said in the previous book because when Harry went and asked Cho to the dance, she seemed kind of upset that he hadn't asked earlier.
Well, yeah. Well, from what I didn't read last book, but what this book says is that uh, Cedric had already asked her and she'd accepted. So she was a little miffed that he didn't ask her sooner because she wanted to go with him.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what
And
I said.
yeah,
Yeah. Um,
and but yeah, I guess sometime after the dance they like became official or whatever.
yeah, and then he kind of tries to explain that she likes him because well that's one reason, but also she wants to get close to him to try to understand like okay what happened to Cedric and oh you tried to protect Cedric so it's kind of
Yeah,
how many episodes of Fallout have you watched yet so far?
two.
Okay, I've watched four. Um,
Yeah,
but there's some funny ass thing in
yeah,
four
it's
that
pretty good
reminds me
so
of
far.
this. Yeah, I like it. We're not going to talk about it because I know
No,
Chris probably listens to some of this, and if he gets spoiled or in anything, he'd be pissed.
I think he's watched more than us.
Possibly. I haven't talked to him lately, so
Yeah.
um,
Oh yeah, I'm just looking through chat. I forgot how like Ron just berates Cho about her Quidditch team. It's like, dude, read the room a little bit. It's so funny. He's like, you like this Quidditch team? Get out of here. It's so funny. And Harry's just sitting here like, dude, help me
chill,
out.
chill the hell out, man. Like I'm trying to like
Yeah,
work some magic here.
yeah. Hmm.
Harry, so also speaking of the relationships, Ron and Hermione are just like bickering back and forth like two
Hmm.
people that are in a relationship.
Yeah,
And Harry is just like, she finally is like, would you two shut up?
yeah. Harry's still in his kind of super angry form this entire section of reading where he's just mad at the world. He just has no chill or no tact. He's just like "Rah!" just aggro everything.
J- Absolutely. This entire book, but like this entire book more than any other,
It's getting a little better, but yeah.
people are they're pushing Harry. Like um the Slytherins are pushing Harry. Umbridge keeps pushing Harry. Snape does some, um, like especially with the draft potions, like draft a piece where he messed it up, and then later on he
Yeah.
messed up something else. So he got 0 marks on 2 assignments
Yeah.
in the early part of this term.
Yeah. This section does really well portraying the like crunch of like school and just all the homework and studying they have to do. Like it really feels some of the other ones I remember like it doesn't really feel like they're really in school that much. There's it's kind of like Buffy where they're in school but they just do all these adventures. Where this one is like we're in school and it's crunching and it really is like getting stressed in them out and stuff like that. So I really appreciated that part of the books we're reading this week.
Yeah, and I see both things because I made a note here that JK likes to use the classes a lot as just a vessel for conversation.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they're in class again. Okay, they're having this whole conversation during class. Like, does the teacher just not hear them talking? But whenever Umbridge later introduces her curriculum for Defense Against the Dark Arts, that started to feel like a college or a university type class. Because, like, all right, these, whenever you go over the syllabus in the first day of
Yeah.
class, and like, these are our expectations for the semester. I'm like, okay.
The Ember's class is interesting as well. We could probably move on to the next chapter, but well, I guess we need to talk about Umbridge's class, but because like it does, you can really tell she's not a teacher because she's not teaching them anything. She's just making them read the book. Like
Yeah,
it's very much like a substitute teacher put it on a movie in high school, and it's really interesting how JK did that. Which like yeah, she's like a bureaucrat, and that's why she can't really teach. She's just giving them reading assignments basically.
I would be really annoyed if like every class I went to for a subject, they're like, all right, we're gonna read this chapter today. Like, no,
Yeah,
like you're gonna teach me something.
she doesn't even like discuss it. It's just like read the thing.
And then when like I like the description whenever like the third or fourth time they went to class and Hermione's like, I already read that chapter. And she's like,
Yeah,
well, read the next one. I already read that one. Well, then go on to the next one. I've read the entire book.
yeah,
Okay, well, what does this say? And she is like, well, it says this.
yeah.
And she was like impressed at first, and then was like, hold on, nope. I don't trust you, little girl.
Yeah, so I guess basically what happens is Professor Umbridge is the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, and she and the Ministry um, it basically have decided to cut out the practical use of dark arts. They just want to teach theory and kind of so there's going to be no magic, and they're just going to be teaching kind of the simple basic dark arts to get their owls, and everybody's really annoyed about that because it seems like that's the funnest class. Um, but Harry, being his angry, aggro self, has to like shout at Umbridge and gets detention for a week.
Well, that's because she's saying
He's a liar and stuff like
he's a liar and that, there's no proof that Voldemort's back.
that. Yeah, but like Harry, you could just not rise to the occasion, be a little smarter, but he's too stupid. Like,
two things I wanted to point out here. One question I had is it was during Snape's class, but Snape assigned them homework, and I don't remember this ever being a thing until this book where he said, "All right, I need a foot and a half." It's like, has she ever used feet as a measurement for the length of an essay before?
I noticed that too, and I was like, that's a weird like unit of like measurement because you could just write really big
Yeah.
and like do like 3 sentences or something. But yeah, it was weird, like because they do it for all the classes. Like I got like a foot and a half for Snape and a blah 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 for the history teacher. And yeah, that's a weird. I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're scrolling out parchment, but you
Yeah,
think
if
they'd
it's
have a
on, if it's, you can't
yeah
say one page because it's on a roll.
yeah. I wonder if that's what they used to do back in the day, or if she just made that up.
I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, I know foot is an imperial
Yeah,
measurement, and so they usually don't use that in England. So the use of it here is very interesting.
yeah,
And also late in this chapter, when Ron is responding to Umbridge saying that they're not going to use magic, uh, JK uses a word that was just I busted out laughing because it's just an amazing use of this word. And the quote says, "We're not going to use magic," Ron ejaculated loudly.
yeah, yeah.
It's just
It's
like
one way to say something.
especially in a book where it's really focusing on the puberty aspect, like
Yeah.
aspects of the characters. Like, hold on. Um. Oh yeah. Again, back to Umbridge real quick, and we'll probably move on to uh, the next chapter, she spouts a lot of rhetoric. It is actually like a obvious use of rhetoric.
Yeah.
As I was saying, you have been informed that a certain dark wizard is at large once again. This is a lie. The Ministry of Magic guarantees that you are not in danger from any dark wizard. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, very much the propaganda is being ramped up, and we'll see in the coming chapters kind of more and more as the ministries get more power. I do want to point out this little section with Professor McGonagall because she's awesome, and how just she kind of reiterates what I said earlier about she's like, Harry, you got to be smarter than this. I know it's nice. I really want to scream at Professor Umbridge, but you gotta pick your battles. And so like we'll see if Harry listens. He doesn't.
Yeah,
Uh,
I made a note that she's impressed with Harry, but warns him to be careful.
yeah,
Like, tread lightly, please. Like she does it under the guise of we need you on the Quidditch team.
yeah. Wink. Yeah. I love Professor McGonagall, and
uh,
it's good to see more of her this section too.
yeah, yeah. And so the next chapter is where he deals with his detention.
Yeah,
Uh, and again, the title of the chapter relates to the second half of the chapter,
yeah,
just like the previous one, which is fine because that is the main thing that happens to it, and it really J.K. does a really good job of setting up how dreadful and suffocating like Umbridge is.
yeah,
Like really making Harry like I really feel for Harry that Harry is underneath somebody's thumb and like anything he does is scrutinized. He can't get out of anything. He can't trust anyone. Like everywhere he goes, a new wall is put up.
yeah, yeah. It's really effective. Um, and
Uh,
once again makes Umbridge such a great villain.
yeah,
You really feel her presence in the school.
Hermione does a good job here of explaining why. Like Harry's like, why doesn't anybody believe? Like Dumbledore announced to the entire school at the end of last semester. Like it's like, yes, Voldemort's back. Cedric was killed. And she explains that, well, if that was the last day of school and it didn't have enough time for every to sink in for everybody before
Yeah,
they went off on a 2 month break and then come back. And that's probably a legitimate like thing that happens. Like if something happens and then you're away from it for 2 months and you come back, you're not as sensitive to it,
yeah.
right?
That and like if one, it's very scary that Voldemort could be back. So if you have the government being like, that this guy's kind of lying to y'all, it'd be more comforting to believe, the authority that like this is just not happened. So I can see why a lot of people also are like, well, Dumbledore's saying this, and that could be potentially, world ending or whatever. But the government's saying that it didn't happen, so we're gonna believe the government to be comforted by it.
Which leads me into um, Ron mentioning to about Umbridge. It says she's trying to get people to spy for her. Remember when she said she wanted us to come and tell her if we hear anyone saying you know who's back? And I made a note here, and we don't have to go into it, but I said, dare we compare this to like 2020 COVID, where it's like, hey, if you see your neighbors gathering, report it to somebody.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched much Babylon 5.
No.
Okay, it's a really good sci-fi show. Anybody that's listening to this should watch it. But anyway, it's like they're on a space station with the Earth government, but they end up having this organization called the Night's Watch come in, and it's like basically like this, like they're like observing under the Ministry of Peace, and they're like observing gatherings and like reporting back. It's very dystopian, and it really reminded me of this. I don't, but it's just like all sorts of fascist or dystopian type governments start doing this, where they're trying to turn the citizens on each other. It's very scary.
Yeah, and I think it is human nature to believe an authority figure over non-authority figures.
Yeah,
Because it's like, okay, well, and it also depends on the how the authority came into play, right?
yeah,
Obviously, if it's a fascist dictator that kind of put themselves in that place, whether it be a right wing or left wing situation, because you can go to uh, Russian or communist Russia,
yeah,
where you got like Stalin in place. Stalin was a dictator. Like
yeah. He
he
was.
he was the sole runner of everything. Underneath him was a communist thing, but he was
Yeah,
pretty much above it, right? So
yeah,
that's not a true like that. Even that is not a true communist like style government, because there's one person above everybody.
yeah,
Um, so obviously, a lot of people didn't trust him. But
yeah,
in like any kind of like democracy or republic where the people vote on people into office, you tend to have a group, uh, large portion of the population that puts some trust in the authority, and like, okay, well, even if you don't agree with 100% of their policy,
yeah,
in certain situations, you're like, okay, well, they are running. Nowadays, though, you do have a whole lot of people voicing uh,
mm, yeah,
dissent. Sorry, voicing dissent. I had the D part of the word right, and I was trying to come up with.
yeah,
They're voicing dissent about governments, and so it's not that.
yeah,
And I think it's a cyclical nature of it, but people tend to believe more of the authority than somebody that's not, and especially if
yeah,
they're an outcast, right? Because like Dumbledore is already he's put as an outcast and a collector of those that are forgotten or pushed aside.
yeah. And also, like, there is some truth to what they're saying, because Dumbledore kind of sucks. Hot take. Like like this school is super dangerous. Like it's kind of like Buffy, where just kids are dying all over the place, or at least they should be. Or they have the potential to die all over the place, and also he's not really doing that much to remedy the situation. I don't know. It's really weird because like he's in the background of this stuff, and it seems like he's not doing much. To like he it seems like there's a lot of ways he could be stopping this, and he's just not doing it. So like there's a kernel of truth to like what she's saying about Dumbledore and like how this school could be run better. So that's also kind of interesting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all that stuff you just put little kernels of truth out. But anyway, this chapter, Fred and George are testing their concoctions on the first years, and Ron is once again shirking his duties as a prefect, not sticking up for the little kids, but Hermione does, which is nice,
and sh
even though it doesn't last.
and she's knitting hats and socks to leave around for house elves to pick up,
Yeah,
which later on we find out that Dobby is the one going around picking them all up.
yeah, and all the other house elves are on a strike because like we see what you're doing. Yeah, the house elf subplot in these books are weird. I can't remember if it goes anywhere. I
I
don't know.
think it does.
Yeah,
We'll definitely find out.
find out in later books. Um. Also, in the previous chapter, they needed a new keeper for their Quidditch team, which turns out this chapter is Ron Weasley, our
Yeah.
good boy Ron.
See, he wants to go try out.
Yeah,
And during Harry's detention on that Friday,
he's like peering
he's
out.
Yeah.
He's got good eyesight if you can see like what's happening there, unless it's like right next to the pitch.
Yeah, I
Because
don't know how
he can
far
like
away it
see the
is.
people. He's like, oh, that was like this girl scored or whatever. I don't know. It's very weird, but yeah. Let's see.
During this chapter, Malfoy, he implies for the second time in
Yeah.
this book that he knows what members of the Order are up to. And that comment was directed towards Hagrid. It's like maybe he's been messing with stuff that's too big for him,
Mm.
if you get
Yeah.
my drift.
Yeah. He's very clever.
Let's see. Ginny said hi. Then Luna made her way straight to him and told him she believes him about Voldemort. So Luna believes Harry about Voldemort.
Yeah.
And let's see. Not a whole lot of people, but we do start to see more people in the upcoming chapters.
Yeah.
So in this chapter, he had charms, transfiguration, magical creatures, and herbology. So they
Yeah.
have what, 8 classes?
They
Charms,
have so many classes.
transfiguration. Yeah.
Defense against the dark arts, history,
History,
which I really wish
divination.
she put more stuff in the history. I know Harry doesn't care about it, but I want to know about the history of magic. I'm like, give me the lore.
Yeah.
Mm.
And of
Yeah,
course,
this I kind of forgot, but this section of the book really reminded me that Harry is just a terrible student. Like he's
what do you
so
mean by
bad.
that?
He's so bad at school. Like he's such a bad student.
It's just like not doing his schoolwork.
Yeah, and he's not good at most of his classes. That's really funny. He's like you forget, but like because you think Daniel Radcliffe and like broken glasses, but he's like the jock of the school, and it's really funny.
Yeah. Well, in this section though, like unrealistically, Umbridge keeps him in detention for what seems like hours
Yeah, which is
and making him write lines that's carving
well, yeah,
into the back of his hand. And that's not serving him to be a better student at all. Like it's taking time
no,
away from doing his homework. And he's doing his homework between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m.
yeah, but like he's he's bad at potion. He's just bad at a lot of stuff. And he like doesn't care about history, doesn't care about the divination class, even though she may or may not be a fraud, but he can still pay attention. And I don't know. It's just interesting.
Well, I mean,
Like,
even Hermione didn't like divination class.
sure.
And she
I
left and she's taking arithmancy.
yeah, I don't know. He's just not a great student. It's fine. It's not like he's a bad person or anything. He's just not a good student.
Yeah. I told you Harry's attitude towards the detention reminds me of a character from Wheel of Time.
Yeah, it really does. Um,
And
but
that's
yeah,
later book stuff, so we're not gonna mention
no,
anything. It'd be a big spoiler for
yeah,
anybody who hasn't read Wheel of Time.
yeah. Um,
And that, to me, that's pretty much that chapter.
yeah. Well, I guess we should go into. He gets detention. He's goes to Umbridge and he writes but I must not tell lies on this pen that has no ink, but it's using his blood as ink and it's like writing into his hand. He's basically getting tortured. It's really messed up. And,
Yeah,
and it made me wonder like who made the pen? Like did Umbridge make the pen or like I don't know. It's really interesting to think about like who made this magical torture device.
yeah, I have no clue. And why, if it just seems very terrible for the High Inquisitor, or who becomes the High Inquisitor of
Yeah.
Hogwarts, to be using on students. But well,
Yeah.
the the title of Inquisitor is very
Loaded.
not. I think it's a nefarious title.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring joy when I hear Inquisitor.
Nobody expects the High Inquisitor.
And of course, there's the Mistborn series where the Inquisitors are what they are.
Yeah, there's no good Inquisitors in all of history or fiction.
Right. So yeah,
Um,
if you're a good person, don't give yourself the title of Inquisitor.
yeah, but yeah,
Although,
hmm,
it tends to be a positive comment if you say that kids are inquisitive.
yeah, they just don't become Inquisitors
Yeah, just don't become inquisitors.
because you might pull out a rack or two. Oh yeah, he's learning vanishing spells. Like, do they explain what those are? Is it just poofing things out of existence? 'Cause that's what it seems to be.
That's yeah. I mean, they mentioned it was the opposite of summoning spells.
Yeah. So there's like murdering these frogs and kittens. Like we moved on to kittens. I'm like, don't murder the kittens by like making them not exist. Also, that seems like the most powerful spell they should learn. Like, how is that not an unforgivable curse?
Right? Maybe there's a size limit to which you can poof out of existence.
Maybe.
Maybe there's also a sentience level, a minimum sentience level
They do say
required.
it's like harder to do smarter things or something, which is kind of crazy. Cause, but yeah, it was just interesting. I was like, seems like they're just like basically firing stuff, like just vanishing stuff. I was like, oh, okay, that's a
Yeah,
cool thing to
I
learn.
imagine it'd be nearly impossible to vanish
A
a
person,
sphinx.
yeah,
So Percy and Padfoot chapter. Shall we move on to that one?
yeah, we can move on to that. I think we got most
Is
of it
is that
done.
where they were doing the vanishing spells, or did they just
They
cover
were
that in the?
learning it in 14.
Okay,
Harry had no time to really practice, so he kind of sucks at it.
yeah. All right, so Percy and Padfoot, we get a couple letters or visits, communication
Mhm.
going on. We got Harry writes to Sirius,
Yep.
um, and we Harry also runs into Cho when she's sending off the thing.
Yeah.
Somebody like we'll get into that in a minute.
Yep. And she
Um,
covers for Harry when the groundskeeper kind of bursts in because he thinks
yeah,
he's
he's like, "You're making an order for dung bombs."
yeah
Like, wait, what? Uh, so let's talk about his letter to Harry, right?
to Snuffles. You mean?
To Snuffles, yeah. Harry's letter to Sirius or Snuffles.
Yeah.
Um, and I like how he said, "She's nearly as nice as your mom."
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm writing because that thing I wrote to you about last summer happened again, and we're missing our biggest friend.
Yeah.
So he's like writing in code.
Code. Yeah.
Did you ever watch the movie Hackers?
With Angelina Jolie, a long time ago.
Yeah, when he says, "I'm writing because that thing I wrote to you reminds me of when they were trying to pass off um the floppy disk," and it's like, I put it in the thing where I put that thing that time. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How did she even decipher that?
Yeah. I will say I do like when the books, like when they have letters and like they have like the signatures and the like it's not just typed up. I do like it when they do all that stuff for letters when books do that. Makes it a little extra special.
Yeah, I like that too.
But yeah, Harry sends his letter. It's he's trying to do the code. I don't know how well he does it, but um yeah, he wants Sirius to help him out and give him some little encouragement, even though Sirius himself is being a little reckless, as we shall see.
Mm-hmm. Uh, let's see. It's funny. I made all my notes at the top of the thing, and as I go down,
Oh, we forgot to tell that Ron became the keeper. He
yes,
won
Ron did
he
become
won
the
the tryout.
keeper, and the first Quidditch practice was just an absolute disaster.
Yeah. And he was the third choice, but he got it because the first one, basically, the other two couldn't commit fully to the team.
Yeah, and here that his brothers actually was like, yeah, he probably has the potential to be good.
Yeah,
But during practice, Katie Bell's nose wouldn't stop bleeding,
yeah,
and I don't think they specifically
because they
stated
gave
it
her the
was.
thing.
Do I?
They gave her the nose. They gave her the antidote to nose bleeding. Ron and not Ron. The
Friend
twins did.
George?
Yeah, the
Okay.
twins did, and then it backfired.
Okay.
It didn't stop. That's why they were all freaked out about it.
So she got hit in the face first,
Yeah,
though.
she got hit in the face, so her nose was bleeding. So they gave her the antidote to nose bleeding. That just made it worse
Right?
because they're human experimenting on people, and she almost died because of it. But yeah, that was fun.
We learn about Sturgis Podmore.
Hmm.
They had heard about him going missing before, right? And
Yeah,
he's in the order,
yeah, he's in the
right?
order.
Yeah, he's in the Order of Phoenix. So he disappeared. They didn't know what happened to him now, or he didn't show up somewhere. And then now
Yeah,
this report is that he was trespassing at the ministry, and so he's now attempted or charged with trespass and attempted robbery. How true that is, we don't know.
I think it's probably true enough that he was like snooping around the ministry and stuff because they say later that he was using like one of their only visibility cloaks, so he's definitely doing some clandestine activities.
For the order.
Yeah, for the order.
It makes sense to put him in jail if you think there's a society trying to subvert your government.
Yeah, I mean, and if yeah he's caught doing classified stuff, it's yeah he's gonna go into jail. Um. Oh, also, yeah, yeah,
There's not too much that happens in this. But then the next big thing is that Percy writes to Ron, and he's
yeah,
he's urging him to distance himself from Potter and Dumbledore,
yeah,
and that he should align with the Umbridge and Ministry. And also, hey, congratulations on being prefect.
yeah, yeah. He's kind of he's drank the Kool-Aid fully. He does say something I just want to bring up. What is head boyship? He
Head boy
says
ship.
he says willing to help Professor Umbridge now may very well place for head boyship in a couple of years.
So head
I'm
boy is a position in the seventh year.
mm,
If let's see that Percy did become head boy in book 3.
that was such a weird title.
It is. I don't know exactly what it means. Let's see. Head boy meaning.
I did,
Head boy of a
I could
school is a senior male student who often represents the school on public occasions.
yeah. I just read there's the head boy. I guess ship would be like the position, but just reading, I was like, what the hell is a head boy ship? So weird. So I was I was
If you
very
had read the previous books recently, you would have
or
picked up
just
on it.
I mean I just figured it was some weird British thing, which it is.
Yeah, it is.
Mm. But yeah, he's definitely drank the Kool-Aid and is it's very sad because he's very much alienated himself from his family.
Yeah. So, and then the last thing that was of importance in this is Sirius showing up in the fire again
Yeah,
to just kind of talk to Harry, like, "Hey, look, you have to be super careful.
yeah,
I can't tell you what's going on with Hagrid here." Uh, he does say something that also, again, reminded me of Wheel of Time. More importantly, a conversation that Nerdy and Clarus has on their podcast. So Sirius says the world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters.
yeah.
So I can't tell you how many times I've heard Nerdy be like and Clarus argue about, yeah, the Dark One isn't the only evil in the world.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not the dark one and then everybody else is good.
Yeah.
It's, there are different levels, but at some point, even those lesser evils uh,
Yeah.
will
Because
align with good people to beat
yeah.
out the supreme evil.
Because we don't even know if Umbridge is a Death Eater. She could just be kind of well-meaning, but kind of evil in that sense of just like, this is how I think the world should work, and I'm gonna force everybody to do it, which is not quite a Death Eater, but close enough.
I I get that sense with Umbridge.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think she herself. It does not feel like she herself is aligned
Yeah.
at this moment with Dumbledore. It's just or not Dumbledore, Voldemort.
Yeah.
It just seems that she has a very defined
Yeah.
code of how the world should operate, and she is put in a position where she can enforce her views.
Yeah. And we also get a little bit more of that the Ministry is worried that Dumbledore is training a secret army, um, which just makes me wonder why the Ministry would be worried about like 30 teenagers when they're the government and they probably have hundreds of wizards that could just destroy them. I don't like, why would you be so afraid of like 40 teenage wizards trained in combat against like thousands of people? I don't know. It's just very weird.
Yeah. What's funny it came to mind is
Because the Ministry of Magic has to be a global organization, right? It's not just the British Ministry of Magic. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't I the books make it seem like it's a British thing.
Yeah.
However, it feels like it should be a global thing.
Yeah, it really does.
But also the books, it's it doesn't really establish a global
Wizarding society.
wizarding world.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a Middle Earth esque, like
Yeah.
England and Northern Europe.
Yeah.
It's just like
Just
this
a little.
small section of the world is the only thing that exists. Because I'm not even
Yeah.
sure they talk about America or anything.
Yeah, or like yeah, Asia or any of that. Well, I guess there's that school in Russia that appears in book 4.
Well, that one's in Bulgaria,
Bulgaria,
so
yeah.
that's still in Europe,
Yeah.
but they're almost like it's a Russian esque
Yeah. I just remember the
language.
movie.
I know,
In the movie they're very Russian.
yeah, absolutely. So or Serbian, but
Serbian, yeah.
style. Uh, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them movies. That's a wizarding in the United States. So
Yeah. Yeah, but even if it was just Britain, like the Ministry has to have just hundreds of people. So like they shouldn't be that afraid of Dumbledore and like 40 teenagers. It's just funny
yeah, I know,
to
I
think about.
agree. I
But
agree.
I guess they're like special because they're the main characters. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of that chapter. Oh, also there's a jump scare where because Sirius is talking to them in the fire pit with like a little disembodied head, and like he's like talking to him and he like disappears and you see Umbridge's hand like kind of reach down and like she was gonna grasp his head and be like, "What's up?" Which is really scary. And I'm just wondering what spell that is.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's part of the flu network.
Maybe, yeah.
Like is him appearing in the fireplace in the fire part of the flu network and the flu technology?
I think they say that because it say like the fire pits are being
Yeah, the flu network is
monitored.
being monitored.
So I wonder if she could like grab him and pull him into the world. That would be really scary.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I wish it would set up. I wish it had set up that possibility beforehand,
Yeah,
because then that would have actually made this hit a little bit more.
yeah,
We do see another, and while they're talking in the fire, we do learn more about how nasty Umbridge is. And Sirius is telling them is that she loathes part humans, and she campaigned to have mer people rounded up and tagged last year.
Yeah,
It's like, what? Wait, all right, you are evil. Like,
yeah, and she put in anti-werewolf legislation.
that
She
prevented
had,
Lupin from getting a job.
yeah, she's terrible.
That was before he actually got a job at Hogwarts, though.
Yeah,
So again, that's a um, another instance of Dumbledore like endangering students. Although, like Lupin, I mean, Dumbledore truly believes in second chances,
yeah,
but Lupin himself, being a werewolf, like as long as you're in human form, I
yeah,
it doesn't seem that werewolves in this world are just inherently evil, even when they're in human form.
yeah. Well, most werewolves fiction aren't like they aren't inherently evil. It's a curse. So like they, you know, turn and then have ravenous hunger and kill people and stuff like that. But and then
Which
like
they
modern fiction, people like werewolves, so they're just good guys, like in Twilight and stuff like that. Not that I've read it.
you
I,
look like me.
yes. Yeah, it's very interesting seeing how just evil Umbridge is, and yeah, poor werewolves and poor Lupin. Um, I do have a question because we're gonna get into the High Inquisitor status and all this stuff. Is there no like school board or higher thing above Dumbledore for there's like no standard of education? It's very weird. I think he just creates the curriculum and is like, what? I'm a wizard. You do I do the stuff.
It seems that way just because there's not like
Because it should,
Hogwarts has to be the only wizarding school in England.
yeah.
And so if it was the only school, then it would be its own school board.
Well, you think like the Ministry of Magic would have like the Ministry of Education, and they would already be doing stuff with Hogwarts, but that's not the case because they're like, we're gonna create the High Inquisitor, and she's just gonna do stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's funny how like the world is really cool in Harry Potter, but when you like think about it for a while, a lot of stuff just starts to crack, and you have to kind of just be like, yeah, I'm fine with the cracks. It's a fun world, but yeah. Chapter 15, the Hogwarts High Inquisitor.
Yeah, this chapter we start to get the inspections.
Yes, which is fun.
And so
I do like the little illustrations every chapter. They're fun.
oh yeah, at the
Like
beginning.
yeah, that one.
Yeah, I really like the one with Haggard's tail where he's holding the piece of meat.
Yeah, yeah, that one's good.
But also the yeah, in chapter 12, Professor Umbridge, that really gives you a good look of what she looks like, and it's like, oh God.
Yeah,
And then Percy and Padfoot, you get Sirius in the fire pit,
yeah,
fireplace. And then this really sets up that it's not just Harry and the students that are being watched, it's
it's everybody.
everybody.
Yeah,
And she's really trying to figure out. I get this, you get the sense when, because she asks every teacher, like, and when were you hired?
yeah.
Like, okay, so you were hired
It
by
it really
someone.
reminds me of Office Space with the Bobs are interviewing the people and they're like, like when she's talking to the divination teacher, she's like, what exactly you do here? It's like I hand the paper to the. If you ever seen Office Space, it's such a good movie. But
I have people
I
skills.
have people
What the
skills.
hell is wrong with
Wrong
you
with you?
people?
Yeah, it's very much that scene, and it's pretty awesome. But yeah, she basically has unilateral authority to like supervise and just like do stuff to the school. She is the High Inquisitor. She's like monitoring what they're teaching, the teachers themselves, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and so with Trelawney, it was funny because as I was reading her inspecting Trelawney, I got a sense of, yeah, she's a fraud, and like I get the sense she's a fraud, but also I feel bad for her here getting inspected and like going under probation, and then
Yeah,
immediately Ron was like, I think Ron said, yeah, he feels the same way, or
yeah.
somebody. It might have been Ron or Hermione.
I do love that she just makes predictions that Harry's gonna die prematurely.
Yeah,
He's like, I hate
all the
divination.
time.
I hate divination class. She just tells him I'm gonna die all the time.
And you wonder why he has anxiety issues.
Yeah,
I saw a meme the other day where it's like, millennials out of nowhere, like, why are kids these days, or not millennials, but maybe millennials are asking, why are kids these days have so much anxiety? And it's like when you grew up, hey, don't do this, or the cops will come and take you away, and then you'll die. Like,
yeah,
hey, what? Okay, so that's why we have anxiety. Uh,
yeah,
let's see. Of course, McGonagall thought she was going to be um, smart about it and be like, I'm going to put on this face for her and just
yeah.
ignore her and show her how good I am. And then she keeps interrupting her.
Yeah,
And she almost pulls a Harry.
yeah. I do like the little him, like what she's like clearing her throat and she's just talking over and she's like, "What? God, you're so annoying," but I can't say anything.
I really like that it's set up. Um, Somehow JK really set up the
Yeah,
thing as a, oh, okay, she's here now.
yeah.
Like anytime you just read, because it didn't even say uh
Umbridge said or whatever.
Umbridge
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
it just went from out
yeah.
of the corner or whatever.
Yeah, this is also when they're doing more of the vanishing. They move on the kittens, which is maybe messed up if they don't come back. I don't. They probably have an anti-vanishing spell or something. But yeah,
When it was worth noting when she was inspecting Professor Grubbly Plank that she was like, so you're not the normal teacher, right? It's like, nope, I just fill in here. And it's like, okay, I don't really care what you're teaching. Like, you're not of importance to me to really observe because you're
well,
not going to be here.
it also seems like she's really good at what she does. Like she should be the actual teacher because Hagrid's maybe not the best teacher, even though he's cool.
He's cool and fun,
Yeah, he's the fun uncle, but he's probably not the best actual teacher.
right?
Because
I,
I love Ron and them like Hermione, don't say anything because Hermione's like, yeah, she's a really good teacher.
I let's see. Other things we get to learn about the world is how the grading system works. And so it's
Yeah.
like after, so E is the best grade you can get.
I thought O was the best grade you could get, and
Oh,
then E.
top graded. Okay, yeah. O is for outstanding. E is for uh exceeds expectations.
Yeah,
Oh wait,
which
no, hold on. E, I think E is a bad grade because George.
no, they say they make a joke. They
Oh
say
yeah,
they should have gotten E's because they showed up, so they exceeded the expectations of not showing.
and then
Yeah, that
there's A, and then there's P, D, and T.
yeah, which and Harry got a D on potions.
It's dreadful.
Dreadful.
The T should be troll.
Yeah, mm,
Which is fun, understanding the grading levels because you're
yeah.
like, oh, I got an A. Okay, cool.
But I think that's the grading level is just for the owls, which is kind of weird that they have different like system just for the owls.
I'd agree.
Because like it would
Also,
be. It'd be like, we have the A, B, C, D, F thing. It'd be like, all right, in this we have S, W, Z for the SETs or whatever. It'd be like, all right, that's kind of weird. Why did you change it? Well, I guess that you have the numbers, but
Yeah. And standardized testing in the United States, you have percentiles. So where
yeah,
you stand in the percentiles as opposed to A, B, C, D, F,
yeah.
which why did we skip E?
Mm. We should do the Japanese and have S be the best though.
What's after that?
A.
SA?
Yeah, if you ever play any JRPGs, like the best thing you can get is an S, and then it goes regular.
Oh yeah, you are right.
Yeah, I forget the exact reason why. But yeah. So yeah, you always want S tier stuff.
And then I think the last thing in this chapter, oh no, two things. So Harry gets another week of detention because he could not stop talking about the Quirrell and Voldemort
Mm,
uh, comment
yeah,
because
and his Quidditch captain is like just she's so angry at him. She's like, "Stop it! Just
yeah,
please, we need to practice. Can you just shut up?"
she had told him before, like, don't get detention again. He's like, I won't.
Yeah,
and then and McGonagall was even like pleading with him,
yeah,
please don't. And then the final thing with this chapter is Hermione brings up the fact that they should probably practice, or they should find somebody to teach them the dark defense against the dark arts in secret.
yeah,
And he's like, Harry said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Who are you thinking? He's like, you.
yeah,
"Uh, okay. And so he brushes her off. It's like
yeah,
I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no.
yeah. We get a quick recap of basically the other books and what he did, and he has some PTSD about it, and he's like, it's just luck and stuff, but he does kind of start to acknowledge his skills. But he's like, I know this guy helped me out, and this guy helped me out, but Harry's got some skills in the dark arts department, so
Yeah,
yeah,
but even so, with that, we can have a discussion. It's like, so if in jujitsu, right,
yeah,
where I've been taught and I've learned a certain thing, right, or a certain number of things, right? I have a toolbox right now of jujitsu. You have a toolbox as well, but yours is like
0.
very, very minimal. You're like, oh, I'm going to scramble and try to push away, right?
Yeah.
That's probably your extent of how do I handle being jujitsu'd. Um, I,
My extent is I'm dead.
and so if I go to a tournament, right, and somebody presents something that I've never seen before, and I'm in a situation and I come up with something, it's like, well, it was luck. Well, no, maybe not, but I used some prior experience in my
Yeah.
own brain
Yeah, you got some instinct for it.
to come up with that solution. And that's what Harry has been doing, at least for the last 3 years, right? From years
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4.
But I do like how he has, it's really good example like survivor's guilt because he's like, I wasn't smart or better than Cedric. Like I could have just as easily have died if they wanted to kill me. So like it really is a good, and it really shows what he's been going through, why he's so angry and stuff like that. He has intense survivor's guilt, and yeah, like he's just trying. He's like, you know, Cedric was really good too, but he got. So I did get lucky. He's trying to like put himself down a little bit and also like have his survivor's guilt, but he does think about doing it.
And which moves us to the next chapter of in the Hogshead,
Mm.
which we find out that the Three Broomsticks is not the only pub in
Yeah,
Hogsmeade.
yeah.
Which,
There's basically Moss Isley, and
yeah, the description of this place is very downtrodden. It's
Yeah.
just funny. And I know I had a conversation with Mike about this, but like Hogsmeade, in book 3, it was mentioned that it's like the only wizarding based like village or town in England.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned it last bit when we were talking about how funny it is that the wizards, like the Weasleys and everybody,
Yeah.
they
Don't know anything about muggles.
don't know anything about muggles, but they live in muggle run cities, except for
Yeah.
those that live in Hogsmeade.
Yeah. Well, there has to be secret like cities like Diagon Alley and stuff like that. Maybe this is the only like town that's not magic. There has to be protective magic against muggles there too. I don't know. Maybe she retconned herself,
Yeah, maybe so.
but it is weird. But yeah, I when they went into the tavern, I literally just heard Moss Eisley music.
What do y'all want to hear next? Play the same song again.
Yeah, because yeah, everybody's all it's all seedy. Um, but Harry did not get into a fight and have somebody's hand get chopped off, unfortunately. But yeah, they're here to discuss illicit classes of dark arts and
Which is so weird because it's, I mean, yes, it's a seedy place, but this would be like the worst place for the students to be overheard
well,
about forming a secret society.
that's exactly what happens.
And like Hermione's reasoning was, yeah, like this isn't
Everyone's
where all the proper people would go. Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly why it's the worst place to
yeah. It's
go.
where all the people that would sell you out go.
But before that, I think Ron gets more Quidditch practice, and he
Yeah,
absolutely is an abomination. Like he
yeah,
cannot stop the quaffle.
he's very nervous and just trying to do his best, but he's kind of sucking.
Um, Ron gets in a tiff at Hermione mentioning Crumb.
Yeah,
So like this is the like one of the first instances of Ron becoming jealous.
yeah,
Well, except for in the last book. He was in the last book. So he's starting to get more jealous when Hermione starts to talk about like Crumb and other boys and things. So we're starting to see a connection between the two of them.
yeah. Still don't know if I like their relationship or not, but it is what it is.
I saw this meme. There's an Instagram account I follow called Cosmere Junkie,
Mm.
which is about Sanderson's Cosmere.
Yeah,
But they took all these scenes from the Harry Potter movies where it was uh not Harry, it was Ron and Hermione in a scene, and then Harry pops up into it.
yeah.
And it was funny because they took some of the characters from Stormlight, or they took
Mm,
was it Shalon and
probably.
Adolin and Shalon, I think.
Mm,
And then Kaladin kept showing like Harry. They put Harry's name on, or put Kaladin's name on Harry as he
mm,
kept popping in on it.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah. We'll get to that later in the year with
yeah,
the
that's. I
Way of
don't think that's
Kings.
any
It's
spoilers.
not spoilers. It's just people might not understand
Understand?
the
Yeah,
references.
yeah. And hopefully by the time we get to it, they forget these references anyway.
True. Um, but yeah, they're in the seedy tavern, and basically like 25 people show up, and Harry's like, "We're gonna get found out. You told like half the school. Like, what the hell?"
Yeah, it's like we need to form a secret society. Let's see if anybody's interested. Who did you ask? The entire student populace.
Yeah, except for Slytherins. Just everybody else, though.
I think we got all of the prefects of the other three.
I think so. Yeah.
And so this is where those names came up. Like so, let's see, Ernie Macmillan and Hannah Abbott. They were prefects for Hufflepuff, I think.
Yeah.
Then there's Anthony Goldstein. He was a prefect for Ravenclaw. And I think I want to say the other Ravenclaw prefect is there. And then of course we have Hermione and Ron, who are the prefects for
Yeah.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Which now it makes sense that she dropped all these names for the prefects to begin with. Because even though like Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff, they're just like those houses are just like thrown in just for the sake of having more houses.
Yeah. For the most part.
think.
Yeah. Once again, when you just list a billion names, I'm like, once they come up a couple of times, I'll remember them. But right now, it's just like random Hufflepuff people, random, all these people. I'm like, all right, cool. And then Luna Lovegood and Angelina
I
Johnson, the
I want
Quidditch
to
captain.
I want to say something about Luna. Like for some reason, every time Harry sees Luna, he describes her like, or J.K. writes the description of her as being dreamy.
Yeah.
And like later on, she used a dreamy description for Luna, which really made me feel like she was aloof, like just like oh, like
Yeah.
a pothead, like a stoner, right?
Yeah. That's kind of what I got.
Um, but whenever with if it wasn't for that description, anytime Harry seeing her and thinking of her as dreamy, like it was
Um,
like something different. And I was like, this is weird.
I never got that. I don't know why, but yeah, I always took it as like she's like just coming out of a daydream. She's just like, huh? Oh, yes, Harry, what's up? But yeah, that's how I know the other word. Yeah, I don't think he finds her attractive. I don't know why I never really took that when it's kind of like in the Wheel of Time where they always talk about you're going mad. And it's like it's for crazy. It's just I always took it as dreamy, like she's kind of a pothead type stuff. It's kind of fun words.
Gotcha.
And we got Zacharias. He's being all like it seems like some of them, well, at least a decent amount, came to kind of like hear Harry's side of the story because they
I think
only heard.
most of them wanted to
Yeah,
were hoping to hear Harry's side of the story against how he fought Voldemort
yeah.
and how Cedric died.
Except for Che, who brought her friend unwillingly along because she likes Harry. Uh,
And
yeah,
people are still surprised by the claim that Voldemort's back.
yeah,
So like whenever Harry first mentioned that and he's like, look, we're getting this out of the way. I'm not here to explain this, but Voldemort's back. Everybody was
yeah.
like, what?
Which I guess makes sense. He they this would be like he died. Voldemort died when they were all like not even born or like a couple months old or something. So like they would just grown up hearing about this evil thing and then be like suddenly Palpatine returned. You're like, oh, okay. So yeah, I could see why they wouldn't like they probably a lot of them don't even believe he existed or like maybe a lot of his like stories were made up as like legends or whatever because like they just grew up hearing their parents talk about him.
Is it kind of like the Legend of the Candyman? I've never seen any of those movies, but like I think with the Candyman, it's like if you say his name now,
Yeah,
you're giving him
or like
power.
or like Bloody Mary or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess it's like this mythos.
Yeah, it'd be like if Bloody Mary died when you were a child and you grew up hearing about her, and you're like, oh wait, Bloody Mary returned. You're like, what? That's crazy. I thought she was like a weird ghost lady.
But also at the same time, they sort of believed that if you said her name, she would come
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
But now the fact that she is back, you're like, wait, what? I
What?
didn't
Yeah,
actually believe that.
yeah. You're like, I thought he was just like some famous wizard who didn't have crazy power. Okay, yeah. So I could see why they're doing it, and they're a little skeptical. But yeah, they kind of decide that Harry is gonna kind of teach them because they kind of once again talk up like his past exploits of like beating the dragon and the Triwizard tournament and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and most of them, when they're going through that list of his feats, most of the students are very impressed with him, and they're eager to learn.
She should
But
be.
they're also very hesitant whenever Hermione's like, "Here's a sheet of paper, write your names on it."
Oh yeah.
They're like, "Wait, why would we want to do that? What if that piece of paper gets found out?" And they're like, well, do you want to or not? Like,
Yeah. And we
so
find out
everybody that was
later.
there actually signed their name.
Yeah.
Um,
We find out later that has been magicked, which was very interesting. Hermione is very smart.
she is it's like she should be the I think Hermione should actually be the protagonist of this of this series instead of Harry.
Yeah, I can see that.
Uh,
But then the mysteries would be solved too fast.
Very true. But like what if you think of Sherlock Holmes and Watson?
Hmm.
Sherlock
It,
is very smart, but what's Watson bring to the table?
it is kind of like that, but Harry Potter's Watson.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's like it's a reverse of Sherlock Holmes, right?
yeah, yeah.
Which so I know you haven't read it, which brings me when I think of Sherlock Holmes and Watson, I think of um the Wax and Wayne era of Mistborn novels because I am reading the second one, and a friend of mine brought up it's like I could imagine I can picture this being a movie with Robert Downey Jr.
Mm.
and whoever the other person was. Um,
Sherlock Holmes movies. That could be cool.
yeah, who played Watson? That's Jude Law,
Yeah,
right?
Jude Law.
Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law could totally be like Wax and Wayne in those.
Yeah,
But I know you haven't read them, so um, we'll go
yeah,
back here. The end of this, we get a lot of relationship building.
yep,
Hermione reveals that Ginny and Michael are dating, and
yeah,
Ron is indignant.
yeah,
He's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Who is this guy?" Like he meets Mike. We meet Michael Corner
yeah,
for the first time, and Ginny is dating him,
yeah,
and we find out that like Hermione says something like, "Yeah, um, oh, Ginny used to fancy Harry, but she gave up on him months ago." So maybe this is why. Remember our conversation about Ginny just said never mind
mm,
in the train cart
yeah,
when Cho opened the door, and she just goes, "Never mind."
yeah,
Like she verbalized her internal thought to herself, like,
yeah. Except we can find out that like she's definitely not over Harry. It's kind of a lie.
"Oh, absolutely."
Yeah,
But human beings tend to do that. It's like, well, if if my first choice won't pay attention to me, then I'll go start talking to this person, and then they'll realize, hey, they're not paying attention to me anymore. And then it's like a bait and switch, like, haha, I
yeah,
tricked you. Sorry,
yeah,
person, I used you to get this person's attention. Like poor
yeah,
Michael Corner.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
And then yeah,
You talk about Cho, how she couldn't keep her eyes off of him. As
and we
seems,
do find out that Harry was oblivious
yeah,
to Ginny liking him.
yeah,
Hermione's like, yeah, you didn't pick up on this. So she was like, I give up on you.
yeah. Poor Harry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think this no, I think it was the previous chapter. Chapter 15. It was the first announcement of educational decrees. So the educational decree 22 was passed, which made her Umbridge, the High Inquisitor. So, Chapter 17, Educational Decree number 24. We get all student organizations, societies, teams, groups, and clubs are henceforth disbanded.
Yep.
So here we have freedoms being taken away
Yeah.
for the sake of safety. So, a question for you, Justin: Do you prefer freedom or you prefer safety?
Yeah. That's the age-old issue because uh, you have you have to relinquish some of your freedoms for safety, and in certain times we have to relinquish more because, like, Patriot Act and all that fun stuff. Um, Generally, I prefer more freedoms for people than safety, but you have to have a good balance. Um, you know, Sucks that the government's listening to all of us now because of 9/11 and all the crazy Patriot Act stuff that's just gotten more and more eroded over time as more presidents have added stuff to it.
So what you're saying is we actually have more listeners of this podcast than reported?
Oh yeah, definitely. But
Hey, FBI and CIA people listening to us, we hope you enjoy our content.
yeah,
And if you do, smash that like button and give us a follow and subscribe.
yeah, and maybe get some beard oil.
And some beard oil, yeah. Go ahead, get some beard oil. That way we know who our listeners are.
Yeah, I will say that this, because they posit that this is a response to their formation of this defense class,
Right.
and I think that this is a bad move by Umbridge. She's tipping her hand. Like, she should just let them meet and then catch them unawares. So I don't know why she did it so quickly.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise. And I wrote a note and said, when will we find out how she knows? I don't think in the full section, I don't think we for sure found out
I
who
mean,
yet.
we kind of do. Like, they talked to one of the guys and they're like, "Yeah, you met in Hogsmeade. There's a lot of shady people there. Like, everyone overheard you."
Yeah.
Because
They
they were
weren't being exactly secret either.
yeah, they were being tailed by that one guy. I forgot his name. He was being all stridery in the corner. Um,
Yeah, I don't remember his name either.
but yeah, they're like, "Guys, be smarter than that. You went to the shady place and got snooped on." When like 30 students walk into the shady place that never has students, they're gonna pay attention to you.
Yeah, right. It's like if you have a whole bunch of people wearing black walk into a church, you're like,
Yeah.
huh, what's
Yeah,
going
but
on here? Well, we thought it was the last place people would look for us. Yeah, but not 30 of you.
yeah.
uh, Hermione does say, it says in Hogwarts a history that the founders thought boys were less trustworthy than girls because it's like they're following Hermione and they're like, we got to tell Hermione this.
Yeah, so they go up to the dorms, yeah.
They go up to the female dorms and then the stairs turn into a slide and like everybody that are on the stairs just slides down to the
Yeah.
bottom, and the girls find it hilarious. They're like, oh no, who tried to climb the steps to the girls' dorm?
Yeah.
And they're
That's
like,
funny.
the boys are like, wait, but the girls can come into the boys' dorm. Like, what's up with that?
Mm,
I think they would actually. So, if you think about it objectively, one boy in the girls' dorm, I think, can do less harm than like he's not going to have as much harm done than if a girl goes into a boys' dorm. If boys are, nefarious, right? If they
yeah.
have ill intent, more harm could come of one girl going into the boys' dorm than one boy going to the girls' dorm.
Well, they gotta have magical contraceptives, right?
I didn't even think about that.
Well, that's what we're talking about, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But like there really shouldn't be that much consequence for that, besides like hurt feelings and all that other stuff. But there should be like one of the first spells they teach the boys.
Hey, if you're gonna do
Hey, if you're
this,
gonna do this,
cast the spell.
cast a spell. Maybe that's what Ron cast when he ejaculated that sentence.
His response.
Yeah,
He ejaculated his response.
yeah, yeah. But like they have to have that.
There has to be a magical explanation for a lot of real world scientific
Yeah.
problems.
Hmm. I guess they don't have like like health class or whatever. It's kind of funny.
They might, they just don't talk
They
about
might, yeah, true.
it.
I wonder if Professor Snape teaches the health class. I like to see that. Hmm.
No, just thought that have Mr. Weasley teaching it, and he's using an analogy of Muggle electricity plugs and plugs and wall outlets. And
Everybody's just like, what is that?
he's like, I think it's electricity. Uh, Angelina begs Harry, please, please, please don't do this again.
Yeah,
Don't upset Umbridge.
yeah,
Because
because
they go to, all, of course, Slytherins are approved to have their Quidditch team,
yeah,
which, let me ask this. If none of the other houses were allowed to have their Quidditch team, but Slytherin did, what benefit does that have for the Slytherin Quidditch team?
I mean, I guess they just win by default and they get the cup.
Right, but
No,
like,
they wouldn't get to play Quidditch. Maybe they make two teams.
they get to
They have like a varsity and a junior varsity, and that they play each other.
yeah, I mean they could fly on their brooms and practice Quidditch and maybe make, like you said, make
Yeah,
two teams to
but
play.
also like if you have odd number of teams, I guess you would just do like round robin. I don't know how many games they play in a season.
I don't either. It seems like they play
Uh,
each other once.
yeah, but like just always when you read Quidditch, you're like, J.K. Rowling was not a sports fan at all because she does not understand how sports or games work. Because Quidditch is objectively a terrible game.
Yes.
Like it would never be popular
No.
because like we'll get into it because they play Quidditch. It's just like you make a game where none of it matters except for Harry Potter. Like it would probably be a cool sport if the Seekers didn't exist.
So like the whole big thing that makes it unique from soccer.
Well, yeah, but
So if it wasn't Quidditch and it was just soccer on broomsticks.
it's a little different from soccer. There's like 3 goals and stuff. But yeah, it's what it's supposed to be. But it's just think like if football, you had the football game going, and then on the side you had a spelling bee, which whoever wins the spelling bee, the other team gets 70 points,
And the game
and the
ends
game
at that
automatically ends. It'd be like, all right, why are we watching football? We should just be watching the spelling bee.
And it doesn't even matter who won the spelling bee. It doesn't guarantee that they win the game. It just ends the game.
Well, no, it you win this if you win the spelling bee, you win the game unless your team is terrible.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't, winning the spelling bee doesn't ensure that your team wins. It just is highly likely that your team is going to win.
It basically ensures it. Because isn't like 150 points or something?
Yeah, you get 150 points for catching the snitch.
Yeah. Like
But also from the previous books, I get the sense that the Quidditch Cup is awarded not based on who wins, but the overall um points scored, like points for and points against, like the spread,
the point differential.
the point differential of all the games as well. Because in one of the books, I can't remember which one, but it was very important that Harry didn't catch the snitch until um, Gryffindor had scored a certain amount of points. Even though if he had caught it at that moment, they would have won that game. They wouldn't have won the Quidditch Cup.
But they get 150, so like maybe I guess they're like 20 points behind, like 170 points behind or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's just really funny because she does not know how sports works.
Did you know that there's a lot of universities right now that have Quidditch teams?
Yeah.
It's not like sanctioned by the NCAA or anything, but
No.
they go and play, and LSU has one. Like I want
Yeah.
to know how they really do that. So
There's a guy. It's basically like tag because there's a guy that like dresses up as a Stitch and runs around. Yeah. But like then there's like also the Quidditch stuff.
that reminds me of the greased up deaf guy
Yeah.
from Family Guy. This is where the Hedwig is injured, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's all messed up.
And she comes to the which class was it in? Grubbly Plank. Oh no,
No.
he's gonna take her to Grubbly Plank.
I think it's in history.
Uh,
Yeah, history magic. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's she's at the window. Yeah, he brings her to Grubbly Plank and meets Professor McGonagall.
But he opens the scroll that's attached to her leg, which it just says today, same time, same place.
Yeah.
So he's gonna meet Sirius in the fire
In the
pit,
fire.
the fireplace
Yeah.
again, which is risky.
Yeah. Because he almost got caught that one time.
I
And
think he almost got caught.
yeah. And this is when we get. Do we have confirmation before that Professor McGonagall was part of the Order?
I don't think so. I don't think we've seen her.
But this is when
And
she basically she like gives like a wink, like that she's part of the Order. Pretty sure.
Yeah, you get the sense of.
That, yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
This is where he said, bear in mind, she said quickly and quietly, her eyes on the scroll in his hand, that channels of communication in and out of Hogwarts may be being watched, won't you? I, said Harry, but the flood of students rolling along the corridor was almost upon him. Professor McGonagall gave him a curt nod
Yeah.
and retreated into the staff room, leaving Harry to be swept out into the courtyard with the crowd.
Yeah.
How many people is this like just like a river of people that are just like hauling him away?
It's one of those the classes end and like 70 students come out and he's just being pushed in the crowd.
That sucks. I hate being pushed in a crowd unless it's a mosh pit.
Yeah. I just think of like Mardi Gras or something where you're just coming like just dispersing through the crowd.
Yeah, I remember I think it was Dustin's bachelor party and we were in New Orleans and I stopped somewhere and everybody else kept walking down Bourbon Street. And we're already a few drinks in. Yeah. And I had to stop somewhere and I come back out and everybody's gone. So now I'm just walking down Bourbon Street all by myself through crowds of people. And of course, nobody's answering their phone.
Yeah.
And so like I had to find y'all where y'all went in all of these bars down Bourbon Street.
Yeah, that's always not fun.
It's not the safest place, but I will say I feel safer on Bourbon Street when it's just me. I feel more nervous and more responsibility if I have to. I don't think I've taken Jules down Bourbon Street, but like
Yeah.
if it's
Not much for her to do there.
no, and not even during the day.
Yeah.
But like if I have to, if I'm with my wife or family or anything, it's like I have a whole lot more responsibility walking down that street. Have to have a whole lot more situational awareness.
Yeah.
To watch out for people that are with me. But no, that night I was just like, hey, I'm trying to find my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was funny because I think y'all had told me y'all were going to a certain place. And I was like, I don't even know where that is. So as I'm
Yeah.
walking down, they have people standing outside, and this is an aside, but there's people standing outside in certain establishments. And so I stopped and asked somebody, it's like, hey, where's this place? And the person was like, I don't know, I never heard of that place. Like
Yeah.
they obviously just wanted me to go into that place and buy drinks there.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks, fucker. Sorry for
Mm,
the language, but
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. Mm.
oh,
But,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, this chapter we get the Snape and Umbridge inspection, which is fun. It's like
Oh yeah,
we get like two villains kind of facing off with each other, and I always now hear Snape in Alan Rickman's voice.
as you
It's really,
should.
yeah, as you
Which is
should.
funny. So over the last two books, there has been not a whole lot of Snape.
Mm.
Like so far in this book, there's not a whole lot of Snape.
Nah,
But whenever I think about the movies and when people talk about the movies, Snape is like Alan Rickman made Snape like really memorable.
yeah, I mean he is a great actor.
Yeah. Rest
Rip,
in peace.
yep. But yeah, I mean he's a fun like side character. Um, but yeah, he's always entertaining when he's on the thing with his like deadpan deliveries. But yeah, I love how she needles him about him trying to become the dark arts teacher, and he's just like, I failed. Yes, just go away. I hate you.
I didn't make um yeah, I didn't make too many notes about Snape being inspected, but he obviously didn't want to be as well.
Yeah, it's nothing much really comes of it. It's just funny having them interact with each other.
Yeah. We do get Malfoy angers Neville,
Oh yeah,
because he brings up Saint Mungo's, and that makes Neville really mad.
yeah,
Later on,
which understandable.
oh yeah, because his parents
You're
were
were mind destroyed.
mind destroyed, but feeble minded by
Yeah,
Voldemort in the
yeah. I forgot that not no one really knows about what happened to his parents except for Harry, and he hasn't told anybody. It's interesting.
So hold on. One second. No, this is not where we chapter 14 was not where we had the jump scare.
Hmm?
Um so earlier you said chapter 14 was where we had the jump scare of Umbridge's hand coming through. That one just ends with there was a tiny pop in the place where Sirius's head had been was
Uh,
flickering flame once more.
okay,
In
so
chapter
it's
17,
this one, yeah.
this is where
You got
a
the jump
hand had
scare.
appeared amongst the flames, groping as though to catch hold of something. A stubby, short fingered hand covered in ugly, old fashioned rings.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I jumped the gun.
And this is the three of them ran for it. At the door of the boys' dormitory, Harry looked back. Umbridge's hand was still making snatching movements amongst the flames, as though she knew exactly where Harry's hair had been moments before and was determined to seize it.
Yeah, yeah, which is really scary.
Yeah. Anything else in that chapter?
I guess like we kind of went over, but they talked to Sirius again, and he's basically like, Miss Weasley and a bunch of people don't want you to do it, but I think you should because I'm the cool uncle. And then that's kind of it, really.
Yeah, although I didn't get the feeling that he was just like, yeah, I want y'all to do this because, and I made a note later on when Hermione brings that up. So I didn't think of it whenever that happened until Hermione brought it up. And so we'll just move right into chapter 18, Dumbledore's Army, right into the question, because she brings it up in this chapter. And she says, I think he'd love to be forming secret defense societies right under the nose of someone from the ministry. I think he's really frustrated at how little he can do where he is. And so like that cool uncle syndrome of like, yeah, do that, that'd be cool, and then tell me about it.
Yeah.
So my question on that is it within Hermione's development or her developed character so far? Is this question uh her posit that Sirius is supporting the secret dark arts classes for vicarious reasons? Is that within her already developed character, or do you think this is like a device that JK added for suspense and wonder?
I mean, she's been bringing up this entire book. So it's not like it's a new thing.
About Sirius?
Yeah.
Like being cautious of Sirius because Sirius.
Yeah. Because he's being very reckless, and she's basically echoing Mrs. Weasley that Sirius is trying to like get Harry to do reckless stuff, mainly because like he and his father did reckless stuff, and to like live vicariously through it, which I do think she has a point, because I don't know, I don't really like Sirius.
See, I don't, I never not liked Sirius, but I don't really have a thing. My real connection, the thing that I loved about Sirius was, whenever he at first like Harry connected to him, it's like, oh man, I have somebody. Like when Harry
Yeah.
realized that he was not the villain.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I have somebody else other than Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia."
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I never really, maybe it's because I don't really like Prisoner of Azkaban that much, but I don't really care about Sirius that much. I think he gets a lot of love because Gary Oldman's awesome.
Gary Oldman is awesome.
But like in the like book Sirius, I don't know. I never really liked him. So I'm kind of on Hermione's side. He's being really stupid here.
Oh,
He's taking too many risks. For not a lot of reward.
yeah, I wonder how my feelings towards it would be different if I read the book before I watched the movies.
Mm,
Because I remember when I was going, like whenever Prisoner of Azkaban came out, and everybody was talking about it because everybody loved Sirius Black, and I was
yeah.
like, I don't know who Sirius Black is. So I went and saw the movie, and time travel movies always do weird shit to me,
Yeah.
make me feel weird because when you go through something, you're like, oh, okay, and then you time travel back and you see those events from a different angle.
Yeah.
Now your original understanding of it is changed,
Yeah.
and it mentally it it's an odd. I can't describe it. It's just an odd feeling for me.
Yeah. I will say like this is one of my takes that like the general Harry Potter fandom is probably against me on, is because most people just love Sirius Black. And like I get it, like, he's like Harry's family and stuff like that. But just reading it as a kid and even now, like I just don't really care for him that much.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, it's just weird. But yeah, and everybody you have to conveniently forget that the time turner exists because it would just solve every problem.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's gone. It's gone away now, and
Yeah.
it was like, well, how do we
Just
solve all these problems?
that was a
Hey.
book that was a book 3 thing. Don't it doesn't exist anymore.
um, of course. I mean, we get another Deus Ex Machina coming up in this
Yeah.
chapter. Um, or not this chapter, in this section. It might be in this chapter. I don't remember. I remember writing Deus Ex Machina this week.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, because they're trying to figure out where to have their classes at.
Oh yeah, the room
Illicit
of
classes.
requirement is the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. Is that not what
100%.
is that not what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember. Like you reminded me exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I did this chapter was funny when they're in the I think they're in potions class, or no, hold on. Village Dunmoms, whose classes are they in? Umbridge Charms class. Flitwick's class. I did not know. I was looking away and I look up and you were gone. I was like, where the hell did you go?
The cat wanted to get up on the thing. She's,
Is she sitting on your computer now?
yeah, she's right
Huh.
there because she's being weird. AK,
Yeah.
just lay down.
So they're working trying to vanish a frog or something.
They're trying to do silences of
Oh,
like,
Silencio.
yeah,
Harry was holding the frog and he was
yeah, he almost killed it.
they're talking about Umbridge and that Umbridge probably reads his letters because they were discussing why Filch thought that hey, dung bombs. And so then I think Hermione or Ron was like, Harry, you're squashing your frog.
Yeah,
And Harry looked down. He was indeed squeezing his bullfrog so tightly its eyes were popping. He replaced it hastily upon the desk. Then later on, um, hold on one second. Sorry.
you're good.
Later on, um, Ron jabbed the bullfrog so hard that he poked it in the eye. The frog gave a deafening croak and leapt off the desk. I was just like, these poor frogs, man.
Yeah,
It's like science class all over again.
yeah. Though I do wonder if they're like conjuring these frogs, if they actually are real or not. I don't know. Get into the weird metaphysics of Harry Potter.
And maybe they summon the frogs and then that's why they're doing all these things to it.
Yeah, they're like familiars in D&D. They're just fey creatures. But even then, that's a little messed up. I don't know. The ethics of Harry Potter. Hmm.
They so whenever they go we'll move on to Quidditch practice.
Yep.
And it is a raining. I have to say, JK just loved to make Quidditch in the rain
Mm.
for some unknown reason. I mean, yeah, it makes it
Yeah.
harder. So maybe it'll make it interesting, which I thought the next chapter's Quidditch game was boring as hell. Like I could not care about it. Um,
Yeah, well, I mean,
but
it wasn't that long either, and I honestly I feel like she has Quidditch in there just because it's she established it, and she's like, I guess I have to have some Quidditch matches now.
she has it in every one, and she
Yeah.
usually I think this is the first book where she did not rehash the rules of Quidditch.
Mm,
Because at least in the first three books, for sure, she like almost verbatim gave the rules for Quidditch.
mm, yeah, that's right.
And so in this one, Angelina's like, Harry, didn't you do something in the other match where you could see? And he's like, well, actually, Hermione did it, but she did an impervious charm on my glasses. They're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, let's do that. And so they cast impervious on themselves, which doesn't help.
No.
Um, it doesn't seem to help really that much.
I wonder if that's cheating. Think you can cast like magical buffs on you? Is that like performance enhancing drugs?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
that is a good question. That's a good ethical question there. But regardless, nobody is having fun at this match. The twins don't. They wanted
No.
to get out of it, so they took fever fudge. And Ron's like, "Well, does it work?" They're like, "Yeah, it does. It gives you a fever, but you also end up with these pus-filled boils."
Yeah, on
And,
your butt.
so they couldn't get out of it, right? They didn't get out of
No.
their they did take the fever fudge, but so they had all these boils.
I will say the Ministry of Magic does need to recruit the twins for like their weapons of mass destruction division. They'd be really good at coming up with chemical warfare.
Oh, they absolutely should.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
because they are definitely gonna become like Tony Starks in the future, just developing just massive amounts of chemical weapons. And it's gonna be really bad. They might be the true villains of this story.
Um, so yeah, they get done with it, and Fred and George are talking, and they're like, "Oh God, I think a few of mine ruptured," said Fred, and George said, "Mine haven't. They're throbbing like mad. Feel bigger, if anything." I was just like,
Yeah.
and then Harry comes in with an ouch, which his scar is hurting again, and we
Yeah.
finally get an explanation here from Harry, um, about his connection with the scar, like.
Yeah.
So he said before, so Dumbledore mentioned that, okay, if Voldemort's near, it'll hurt, but also if he's angry, it'll hurt. But now we find out that, and Harry actually remembers these things. He's starting to connect. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, he was angry that time, and I saw this vision, but now I see it when he's happy too. So like we're getting more of a connection between Harry and
And
Voldemort. So we're
Voldemort. Yeah.
establishing that. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
But obviously, Voldemort's mad at something. Maybe it's because McGonagall. So, oh, I forgot to mention McGonagall had gone to Dumbledore and got them approval for the Quidditch team.
Yeah. Which
And
seems
with
like that shouldn't work because she's above Dumbledore.
McGonagall?
No, the Umbridge.
Oh,
That
yeah.
like isn't that the entire point of the High Inquisitor?
Yes. It,
So,
it should have
so I
been.
don't know why that worked. Because if
She
Dumbledore
did
can just overrule her, then she has no power.
she did mention something later on. I don't think I'm not sure if I
It may. I
made a
think it
note
might.
of it.
Yeah, it might be another rule. I forget. It
Yeah, I,
might.
I think it is another
Yeah.
educational decree,
Yeah, I think that might actually be.
because she mentioned, she said, I couldn't just have the same powers as a teacher. I needed to have more.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know what could. So there's a dream that Harry has.
Hmm.
Um, let's see what's.
It's like walking through a doorway or something.
Yeah, he was walking once more along a windowless corridor, his footsteps echoing in the silence as the door at the end of the passage loomed larger. His heart beat faster with excitement if he could only open it and enter beyond. And then, he was studying, and he had fallen asleep, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was trying to do his homework and stuff, and he was like kind of going in and out of consciousness, and then finally went to sleep and had that dream.
Yeah.
I don't know what that dream could mean. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I took it he was having like Voldemort's dream or something. So like Voldemort was trying to get somewhere through some sort of like he because they say like Voldemort has like a secret weapon or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured it was like him trying like he just needed to get a certain amount of steps to get the weapon. It's kind of how I
Okay.
took it. I kind of took like they were now being connected, so he's like seeing some of Voldemort's plans or dreams and aspirations. I don't remember if that's right, but that's how I took it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't sit there and think about it, so I can't think of what it possibly mean by that.
Because I don't think it means anything to Harry himself, so I think it's a Voldemort dream.
That would make sense because we don't get a whole lot of, I know in book one, Harry had a dream that Professor Quirrell's turban was talking to him.
Mm.
I was like, okay, that's at that point it was a little foreshadowing,
Yeah.
which was interesting. Winky, so we find out Dobby was picking up all the clothing that
Yeah.
Hermione was leaving around and bringing it to himself and giving some to Winky. and that Winky is still drinking a whole lot of butterbeer.
Yeah. So I guess butterbeer can get elves drunk, but not humans.
Humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my understanding was it was non-alcoholic because the students drink it.
Yeah, but Dobby says that like she's getting drunk.
Yeah.
So it must be alcoholic to house elves.
And Dobby informs Harry about the room of requirement.
Yeah.
And then Harry's like, "Oh wait, now what? That thing that Dumbledore said one time about a room that just appears with chamber pots in it when you really need to go to the bathroom." He's like,
Yeah.
"Huh, that's what Dumbledore meant by that." Which I wonder if J.K. just retconned that being the room of requirement.
I could see that.
Because I totally believed when Dumbledore had said that to begin with, that it was just Dumbledore being cheeky.
Hmm. Yeah. I could see she's like, oh, I already have a little Easter egg I can like throw in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a room that just gives you whatever you need if you have great need, which is pretty cool. And I wish we had that sort of technology.
Yeah. I have another Hogwarts Legacy connection here. That I was like reading it. I was like, remember Barnabas the Barmy. So in Hogwarts Legacy, I found a tapestry, and it was one of those secret scroll locations,
Yeah.
and it was Barnabas the Barmy's attempt to train trolls for the ballet,
Hmm.
and that was mentioned in this book. So it was nice.
That's
It's
cool.
nice seeing those, coming back and reading it and seeing
The
a lot of the little
connections.
details in the book actually have, or sorry, things in the game refer
Yeah.
to little references in the book that are small.
That's cool. They did their homework.
Yeah. And they go to, this is where
Yeah,
obviously
they have their first meeting basically in the room of
it was
requirement.
just funny because Hermione's like, all right, so we agree that Harry, like, we need somebody as the leader of this, and everybody's like, obviously it's Harry. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but let's go to a vote. Everybody wants Harry, and everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that was pointless.
Yeah. But I get her point of like, just to reiterate the leadership position of Harry stuff, even though it's kind of unspoken, but to get that kind of verbal agreement by everybody. And this is where they decide the name, Dumbledore's Army, which is a terrible name. Like, why would you do that?
Well, technically, it's not Dumbledore's army. Technically, it's what does she say? Defense Association.
Association.
Yeah,
But
that's what
but
Cho says. The
that's,
Defense Association.
but then Ginny retcons it into being Dumbledore's Army. Yeah, the
Yeah,
DA is good. Only let's make it stand for Dumbledore's Army.
yeah.
And then Hermione writes it on the paper, so it's actually. But like, it's like, guys, why would you do that? They're dumb teenagers.
Let's leave all of this evidence, a complete list of everybody in it.
Let's just have evidence of the thing that the Ministry is trying to make Dumbledore like to like oust him for. That he's training a secret army. Let's just write that's happening. So when they find this evidence, Dumbledore is screwed. That sounds like very smart.
Uh,
Mm.
the twins are playing pranks on people as they're trying to do these charms. So like they're working on Expelliarmus charms. Um, I think that's most of what they're working on right now. So
Pretty much.
uh, it was funny because he said there's something odd was happening to Zachariah Smith every time he opened his mouth to disarm Anthony Goldstein. His own wand would fly out of his hand. Yet Anthony did not seem to be making a sound.
Yeah, but it is fun seeing Harry kind of come into his own as a teacher, kind of like puts the twins in their place, and they're like, "Ah, we'll stop," and they start learning how to do stuff.
Yeah, which is fun because they haven't really learned how to do anything yet.
Yeah,
And this is the 5th year that they're there, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, let's actually learn some stuff.
and it is once again reiterated how good Harry is. Like he can do a Patronus, like physical Patronus, or corporeal, and
Yeah.
like stuff like that. So they're all impressed by his. And we learn that he is better than Hermione at dark arts. He actually beat her in the class,
Yeah.
which is pretty impressive because Hermione is like a genius, as we find out later in the book.
Yeah. We find out that Luna's father is a conspiracy theorist, basically.
Yeah, we already kind of knew that, but yeah,
We reiterated it here.
yeah. And Hermione is just hates conspiracy theories. It's really funny.
Yeah, she's like, your dad is nothing. Like she's constantly like harping on Luna's father anytime Luna brings him up.
Yeah,
It's like that's rubbish. Um,
which to be fair, if you had a classmate whose like father was a flat earther, you might be talking shit about him too.
yeah.
And he was like putting out a newspaper about flat earth stuff. Yeah. I could see you making snide comments about it.
The end of the chapter here, Hermione and Ron are flirting a whole lot,
Mm.
and Harry decides to just kind of tune them out
Yeah.
as they're walking back to the common room. He had one eye on the Marauders map, watching out for any teachers that are coming around, or but he was also thinking about how Cho had uh, said he made her nervous.
Yeah.
But he's just daydreaming about Cho.
Yep.
It is hilarious watching Nyx walk. And I see her in the background there because she just like she's so
Yeah.
chonky. She's just like
She is a chunky cat.
all
The chunkiest.
right. Chapter 19,
18, yeah.
The Lion and the Serpent. Unless I missed anything about Dumbledore's army and the room of requirement.
Nah, I think we got it. They kind of just train and figure out, who's in charge and all that stuff.
Yeah, so The Lion and the Serpent, I found this so boring, but I understood the lead up, and the length of the match was supposed to build the tension towards the fight, and then the
Yeah.
consequential ban that at the end.
Yeah.
But I really felt that the use of the Quidditch match fell flat for that. Like
Well, it's
to
more
me,
like just them uh shit talking Ron. That's kind of like that's why it was so long. But before all that, we get uh Hermione put a protean charm on all these coins to like secretly tell the time, because if you change one, it changes all of them. And apparently that's what Voldemort does for the scars, which is pretty cool. But
yeah,
just
the
yeah,
forearm Death
yeah,
Eater scars. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Where the hell did she learn that from?
probably after she read, probably in defensive dark art class after she finished the book, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna learn higher spells."
Which, in regards to that, because somebody asked, who was it? Terry Boot. So Terry Boot is a Ravenclaw,
Yeah,
and he's like, "You could do a Protean charm." She's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, but that's Newt standard." Like, well, yeah, I suppose it is. He says, "Well, how come you're not in Ravenclaw with brains like yours?" I was like, "Yeah, why isn't she in Ravenclaw?" And while we're at it, why is Neville in Gryffindor when Gryffindor is supposed to be the brave and bold people, and Neville is completely a coward. He should
Eh,
be in
He's
Hufflepuff.
Neville's got some bravery to him. He just
He
needs.
builds it.
Yeah, that's why the hat saw his potential. He's the real chosen one. Do you like that theory? Um, I don't. I don't know. I wonder if it was like Harry, where Harry had a choice between Slytherin and Gryffindor. If she had a choice between Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, and
Well,
she went.
that's what she suggested.
Yeah,
She said that the Sorting Hat did seriously consider putting me in Ravenclaw during my sorting.
yeah. I think she. So here's my theory: is that just like when Harry put on the hat and it was like, oh, we should do Slytherin. She wanted to do Gryffindor so she could just be the best in Gryffindor. If she was in Ravenclaw, she'd have a lot of competition.
So you think she wanted the easy out?
No, she just wanted to be the best in Gryffindor and be like, what's up?
Right, but she wanted to be the best, so she wanted an easy out
Yeah,
because she knew that the other Gryffindors weren't going to be as smart as her.
yeah, which is a little messed up.
Yeah, bad on you, Hermione, Miss
Yeah.
Hermione Granger.
Or she's like the nerd that like wishes she was a hero, so she's like, put me in Gryffindor so I can be a hero. I don't know. The houses are dumb.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Like they're cool in concept, but they're funny. I don't know.
They don't do much except for Gryffindor and Slytherin.
Yeah, I wish there was more. I mean, there's Luna now, and she's she's Ravenclaw. So they're starting to get a little bit more people. But yeah,
Yeah, a
it would
little
have been
bit more involved.
in like show and stuff. But there, it would have been cool if like one of the one of the three was a different house.
Yeah, but then they couldn't be together all the time. Like they needed to be in the same house so that they could gather in their common room.
True, but they could be in like class a bunch or maybe not one of the three, but like a prominent side character, like Neville. Like if Neville was a Ravenclaw or something.
Yeah, I really think Neville should have been a Hufflepuff,
Yeah, Hufflepuff. Yeah, that could have worked.
and just he's part of the. I mean, he's part of the core group, but he's not like the main.
Yeah,
But
but
having
then
somebody that's always there.
yeah, but then like it's weird because like they're all separate. Like they eat with their class and stuff. Like they don't really meet except in actual like class with
Yeah,
other people. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, the housing thing is weird. I wonder if that's a. I never went. I never really went like boarding school or anything. I wonder if that's like a big English thing, or like your your classes are very separate in England.
yeah. I wonder. So then, before the Quidditch match, Hermione kisses Ron on the cheek. I think this is the first time we get more than just flirting
Yeah,
from the two of them. Then this match happens. We find out that Crab and Goyle are the new beaters.
meters. Yeah,
Uh, they have another person. What was his name? Um, they had one more person that was new. That was basically like a troll looking person.
yeah, and they have these badges that say Weasley is our king.
Yeah, Weasley
Yeah,
is our king, and the chant Weasley is our king. He always lets the quaffle in.
yeah,
I was like, this is terrible. I hated this part. Uh,
yeah. But I mean, it's just part of sports, though.
true.
It's like remember when Tebow was playing against LSU, like people would call him up and stuff. Like, yeah, people get really mean in college sports,
They do. Absolutely.
which probably sucks for the players, but it's really fun as a spectator.
Yeah.
It can go too far, obviously, but like I think the like the shit talking and stuff. I think it's fun if you don't take it too far, like going like gator bait and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
That's fun. Like tiger bait,
yeah, tiger bait. Yeah, why did I say
gator
gator bait?
bait,
I
because you
don't
were
know
thinking
why
of
I did that.
Tebow.
Yeah, ugh.
Traitor.
I am a traitor. Hey, at least I'm not like Chris, who actively rooted for Tebow when he was playing at Florida.
So after the game,
Yeah,
they
the
win.
game itself, like, Ron kind of sucks, but since Quidditch is what it is, Harry gets the snitch and wins.
Yeah, and afterwards, Malfoy is making fun of the Weasleys.
Yeah, the Weasleys.
Yeah, and so Ron is already like checked out almost.
Yeah,
Um,
he's very sad that he sucked.
yeah, he's like, I sucked at this. It doesn't matter what they say. Yeah, I suck. And then once Malfoy starts talking about Mister or Mrs. Weasley and Mister Weasley, that's when Fred and George
Yeah,
start to go. And so was it
and
Fred? One of them. That's
yeah,
the joke with it.
they're getting held back.
One of them's held back. The other one goes in and punches. Harry
Well,
jumps in too.
well, Harry's I think holding one of them back, and then he says something about Harry's mom, and then Harry's like, "All right, it's on," and they have a little scrap, and
Yeah,
they just kind of punch them in the face, which he deserves.
yeah. So then Fred and George and Harry all get a lifetime ban from Quidditch from Professor Umbridge. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is such an unrational like punishment. Like what why would that ever make sense?
Well, that's the whole point. Is she's trying to just discredit Harry so much. You take away some of his reputation, then you start taking away his like popularity because he can't be the hot seeker uh, in the school. So she's just trying. And then I think the twins were just collateral damage, but also she probably hates their father because he's still there, and they're trying to get rid of her father. So if they can, two birds with one stone, sort of thing.
And then leave Ron on the team because he's not that great anyway.
Yeah,
But the other twin that was held back, there's like, yeah, and he's gone too because if it wasn't for his friends holding him back, he would have gone in and been violent as well. I'm like,
yeah, which is weird.
okay,
And then
what?
they didn't get what, Crab or Boyle when he smashed Harry in the back of the head with the
No,
thing after the game was over.
yeah,
So
totally unfair. It's always the last person to strike, you know.
yep,
Like in football, when the refs throw the flag, it's always the second person to throw the punch.
yeah. Yeah, it's when they get the other educational degree number 25, where she basically has unilateral authority for punishments now. So, because McGonagall was just going to give them like detention for a while, but Umbridge now has the authority to basically do anything she wants now, as she's been slowly chipping away the power of all the other teachers and everything, which is not good.
Yep. And the very end of this chapter, we find out that Hagrid's back.
Yep,
That would have been a great place for this section to actually end. But
true.
chapter 20, we find out what Hagrid's been up to.
Yeah.
Which this was kind of fun because I like the world expansion, the world building that's going on here.
Yeah.
So it's great to learn more about the wizarding world outside of Hogwarts. Find out like
Yeah.
the Gurgs of the giant clans, like the
Yeah.
chiefs of the client, the clans. That Hagrid ran into a vampire, or so he says.
Yeah.
Like it would have been nice to have like more vampires or zombies. I guess we have ghouls. Like the Weasleys have a ghoul in their attic.
Yeah.
Um, but I wish we had more of that like on screen and other creatures in the books. But it
Yeah.
also the fact that they're not on screen almost makes them feel like they're just tales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, we didn't really run into it. People just say they do. Um,
Yeah. So yeah, it's a weird chapter because like not a lot really happens. It's kind of just like I went to the giants. I talked with this one giant. He died, and then the Death Eaters, like they basically have the giants, and that's kind of the gist of it.
mhm.
Um,
We did find out that Mac Nair, who was the headsman that cut off Buckbeak's head,
hmm,
is a Death Eater, an active Death Eater.
yeah,
And like this whole chapter was basically just Haggard telling us the story about him going and seeing the
yeah,
giants and treating with the giants, and that he did kind of treat with some, but then once the other giants and the Death Eaters find out,
yeah.
then they got kind of booted out, and like more giants were killed, and
They,
so
they ripped off that one giant's head, which is a visual. I did not know. I did not remember it being in this book.
yeah, uh, I didn't remember either.
I was like, oh, that's really violent.
And then at the end, Umbridge visits. Uh,
Oh, and I guess we should say that Haggard is messed up.
yeah, he is torn up. Like he
Yeah,
was holding a slab of cold dragon meat on his face.
yeah, and
I
I don't.
like the image on the
Yeah,
chapter.
yeah, it's good. I don't remember if he actually says like what actually messed him up. I guess it was the Death Eaters, but I
I
don't.
got the sense that he got beat up by giants, but
Maybe
I
I don't
could
know.
be wrong.
Yeah, he didn't really explicitly say. They kept asking him, but he wouldn't say.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew he kept skirting over it.
yeah,
So, but then Umbridge shows up. The kids are hiding underneath the invisibility cloak, but Harry keeps thinking that she's looking right at him in the corner. Um,
yeah,
she hints that she knew where Haggard had been,
yeah,
and then after she leaves, Hermione pleads with him to teach like safe creatures so
yeah,
that he passes her inspection, so he doesn't like get booted out of the school.
yeah. Which he's not gonna do
Yeah.
because he's a little obstinate. He just wants to do fun things, which I respect, but don't think it's gonna go well.
Nope.
Oh yeah, and he does kind of hint that the French lady he was with, there he has like a thing for.
Yeah. Well, he we already
We
knew
are we
that.
already knew that. Okay,
Yeah,
I forgot.
because he was flirting with her in book 4,
Mm,
and when he was flirting with her, and Harry overheard all this conversation, he brought up the fact, it's like, yeah, you're people like us, and she goes, what do you mean people like us? He goes, half giants, and she got pissed off that he
mm,
insinuated she was a half giant, and she's like stormed off saying, I'm just a big boned woman.
yeah,
I was
that's
like,
funny.
okay.
I will say reading this book made me sometimes wish for other POVs besides Harry.
Yeah.
Would be nice. Like I get like it's more of a young adult book and stuff, but like it'd be fun to have like a Hermione POV or a Ron and stuff like that. Maybe even like a McGonagall POV. Like if this was like a George R. R. Martin book or something, like we would have all sorts of insights into all the characters' minds, which would be fun.
Yeah,
But
that would be fun. It'd be a whole different
it'd
series.
be a whole different series. But and I see why she didn't do it. But just as the world's kind of expanding and stuff, or like an Umbridge POV would be really interesting. Um,
True, but it also provides, like, not having it really makes us wonder what certain people's motives are.
yeah, true. Like there's pros and
Pros and
cons
cons.
to the things, but I was just thinking of that like it'd be interesting for other POVs while reading it,
Yeah.
but it's not this series.
Yeah. that's all I have here.
Yeah.
That last chapter wasn't much to talk about because it was just
No.
like it was he gave a lot of description and it was just a bunch of back and forth. But
Yeah. It was interesting. Oh, yeah, basically. I'm interested to see how Hagrid does with this new regime. I'm gonna guess poorly, but I don't really remember.
yeah, I don't remember at all. So let me pull up the what our reading is. Is this it? This is it. Yeah. All right. So for next week, we're reading chapters 21 through 29.
All right.
So we have 9 chapters,
9 chapter. All right.
right?
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Again, and yeah, 9 chapters again. We are 50% of the way through the book.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it.
I am enjoying it as well. Um, like I said, it's been 17 years
Hmm.
for me since I've read these books.
Yeah. Been probably that long for me too.
What year did Deathly Hollows book release date was July 21st, 2007. So yeah, in 2006, 2007-ish is when I started reading the books. Maybe 2007, 2008. So
Yeah.
it's right around then when I started reading them. I was at LSU.
Yeah, a long time ago. That's
Yeah.
I don't. For some reason, I remember them being done before that. Before I was at college. Well, I was in college in 2007, but I was actually yes, I was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I
were
was. 2005.
a junior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time. It flies. But for some reason, I remember them being done earlier than that in my mind.
Yeah,
So
I
when
don't.
was the
What are you looking up?
just when the last one came out?
The last movie?
Last book.
Oh,
Oh, are you talking about the
2007.
movie? Oh, okay, that's the last one. Deathly Hallows.
2007 was the Deathly Hallows book came out.
I forgot that was the last one. I remember not liking that book, but I guess we'll see. Well, actually, I'm not doing that one.
You can listen on it.
True, true. I might read it anyway.
Yeah, Order of the Phoenix came out in 2003.
Yeah,
So you were still in high school then.
yeah. For some reason,
I had just graduated.
yeah, I don't remember finishing Harry Potter in college. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it had happened. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm excited for the last uh, 3/4 of the book or 2/4. Oh my god, I can't do math right now. Last half of the books. I think it's gonna start ramping up.
Yeah. It'd be good to be reminded of everything that goes on.
Yeah.
Chapter 30, I was just looking at the titles of the chapters,
Mm.
but chapter 30 is titled Gralp, and I don't even remember what the
Oh, that is a crazy thing. Well, I guess we'll find out.
yeah.
Growp.
But if you've made it this far to the end, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe, whatever, share it, and um, go support our um, sponsor, Mudcat Whiskers. And we shall see you next week. Oh, don't
What's that
forget.
promo code again?
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget the promo code is Paperweights. The name of the podcast, Paperweights. It'll save you 15% and get your beard feeling great. You can get a candle, make your house smell great. So
Yeah.
works great if you have cats or dogs in your house and you don't want it to smell like cat litter or wet dog.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Yeah.
all right, Justin. Well, I will see you next week, and yeah, have fun.
All right. Thank you. I'll see you next week too.
Bye.